Guys, welcome to PWTB. Today is our first episode, and we already got a guest on. I'm Evan. We got Jake, and we got our guest Nicholas. Nice to meet you, man. I don't think we've obviously never talked, but
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on for I didn't realize this was the very first episode, but that's kind of cool for me to be the first guest. Uh,
yeah.
I'm excited to do this, talk some sports, and I hope you guys do well with this. I'll be keeping track of how this whole show goes for you guys, so I really hope it goes well.
Much appreciated. You're always welcome back on in the future too. But yeah, just if you want to, just I guess, anything to share, who are you to our viewers? I guess if you want to share anything. But
Yeah, so I mean, Jake is kind of the one that I know here. I don't really know Evan, and as Evan said, this is the first time we've even met. But I've known Jake from a sports group chat or a couple sports group chats, I guess you could say. And so he just asked me to join today. But I go to college at Arizona State University online. I'm in my first full year there, and I'm set to graduate with a bachelor's degree in media studies in after the spring of 2024. So I'm looking forward to that. And I watch sports all the time. Dodgers fan, Lakers fan, Rams fan, Chargers fan, and I watch golf. So pretty well rounded with my sports.
hey, at least you're representing LA. I know some LA fans. There'll be Lakers, and there'll be Cowboys, and then at least you're representing. So I gotta respect that. Jake, I'll hand it over to you for our first topic, I guess.
Okay. So the first topic we're going to talk about is MLB free agents. The big stars. Where do you think they're going to land?
Do you want me to start this off, or do you want Evan to go?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
You can
I
go.
mean, you can throw them out there. You got Aaron Judge. I would go the big outfielder names first. Of course, you even got a guy like Trey Turner. Where do you see those pieces falling? Well,
Aaron Judge, you mentioned right off the top. I really think it comes down to the Yankees and the Giants for him. He comes off as someone who's very, very loyal to me, and he would be loyal to the Yankees, but he's also San Francisco's also his home, so I think he would also be loyal to his family. But ultimately, I believe he stays with the Yankees. That I really solidified my position on that after they brought back Anthony Rizzo a couple of days ago because he's a good friend of his, and they were going to need him back to bring Judge back. So I think that's where Judge goes. Trey Turner, of course, I'm a Dodgers fan, so we've had Trey Turner for the past year and a half. I do not believe Trey Turner is going to come back to us. As a matter of fact, I don't even think the Dodgers care to talk with this camp all that much. Trey Turner to me is an East Coast type of guy. He's going to go to the Phillies, in my opinion. The only other team I could really see him going to, actually, there's two other teams on the West Coast, actually, that I could see him going to, is the Mariners, or he could also go to the Angels. I think the Angels, they just signed Tyler Anderson a few days ago. I think the Angels want another bat. So those are the two guys that I'm really got my eye on. But Carlos Correa, I believe he's going to be a Cub. I think the Cubs were much closer to signing him last offseason than we want to believe. And I think the Cubs are ready to spend in free agency.
yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Angels, the Phillies. Those are the teams that will just spend, and that kind of makes sense. I know you mentioned the Mariners too. They just got Teoscar Hernandez, I'm pretty sure, from the Blue Jays in a trade, which I guess is another good question. Do you see any big trades coming up, maybe this offseason?
You know, that's tough. I mean, I don't really see many teams having huge stars on the market. I mean, I know Shohei Ohtani's kind of been rumored, which, look, from a business perspective, I think the Angels would be stupid to trade Ohtani because he's like the guy that gets people in seats. That's why people go to watch them. But I think the Angels are in the position with their farm system where they almost have to trade him, but they won't because, like I said, it's the only way they're going to get seats is by get people in seats is by keeping him. But one guy I've got my eye on specifically for the Dodgers is Corbin Burns. We saw what the Brewers did at the deadline. They traded away Josh Hader. So I think they finally see the window closing in for championship contention. And the way a small market team works is you trade your big stars right before they're due for an extension. I think that's where Corbin Burns is right now in his career. And I think the Brewers are looking at that and saying, hey, you know what? We probably don't want to pay pay Corbin Burns because we can't afford it. Let's trade him. So I could see him being on the move this offseason.
Definitely. And I mean, I guess that just, you got the Marlins, Jake's favorite team. Could you see, I guess, to wrap up the MLB discussion, could you see a team like the Marlins just throwing money again? Like maybe like they used to in the past with Stan and them. Do you see an underrated team maybe looking like, hey, we can spend, we can compete? Do you see anyone like that? I know you mentioned the Cubs a little bit. That might qualify, but do you see anybody else?
Yeah, I see the Orioles as that team. The Orioles improved their win total by, I think it was almost 30 wins or right around 30 wins. And so now they're ahead of schedule and they're ready to compete. I think they're going to go and get one of the star shortstops. I think they have no reason to. I mean, you've got a great young core there. You got a great farm system, and they're in prime position to spend now. They're ready to win. They barely missed out on the playoffs last year. And I think it's time for that organization to actually show the fan base that they're serious about winning by doing that. And perhaps also going to get a guy like a Chris Bassett or someone like that. Veteran, middle of the rotation type of guy that's going to be great for the young guys. Jake, I'm sorry, but I don't see the Marlins spending. They're just the Marlins. So I don't see them spending.
They might trade all their good players, but then they won't spend. But anyways, though, so we'll move the NFL discussion. Jake, I'll let you. I do want to get on this topic, but I'll let you ask it to our guest here first.
Okay. So with the NFL topic, who's better this year, the Minnesota Vikings or the Philadelphia Eagles? Who do you think, Nick?
It's a tough question because I feel like both teams have had relatively soft schedules for the most part. I mean, the Vikings did just have their first, I think, marquee win of the season against the Bills, that amazing comeback. I don't even know how that happened, so I'm not going to try and explain it. But I would say the Eagles are still a better team. I think, sticking with the Vikings for a minute, I think Kevin O'Connell has been a huge lift to Kirk Cousins in that offense. He knows exactly how to get guys like Justin Jefferson open. And as a Rams fan, I saw it all the time with Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp was always open last year. Everyone was always like, why is nobody covering Cooper Kupp if he's this good? It's just, that's the way he schemes guys open. So I think O'Connell has made a bigger impact on the Vikings than we assumed they would. But I think the Eagles are the more well-rounded team. Eagles have also had a soft schedule at this point, and they actually just lost to the Commanders on Monday Night Football a few nights ago. But I think that Eagles defense is as good as any defense I've seen in recent years. James Bradbury's on that defense. Darius Slay's on that defense. They picked up Robert Quinn from the Bears. They just signed Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh through free agency. Jordan Davis has been really good. He'll be back for them soon. The running game has been solid. I'm not huge on Jalen Hurts, but he's been solid this year. They added A.J. Brown. They have Devontae Smith. Unfortunately, Dallas Goedert went down, but he'll be back by the time the playoffs come around. I think that is the names I just listed off. That's got to be one of the most talented teams in all of football. I mean, how can you sit here and say it's not? I mean, Nick Sirianni has honestly been a great surprise as a head coach, because when he was hired a couple years ago, nobody thought anything of it. They were like, oh, this guy probably sucks. Nobody's ever heard of him. He was terrible at his introductory press conference, and he's been amazing. So I think it's hands down the Eagles. And mind you, the Eagles are in a division where the Cowboys and Giants are also good this year, yet they're still leading the division.
Yeah, and we can't forget about the Commanders. They just went into Lincoln Financial Field and took over. So no, I got to follow right along with you. I think the Eagles are the better with that secondary with Darius Slay, the trade moves they've made, and obviously good receiver weapons. They've got they got A.J. Brown. They've got Devontae Smith. They have weapons. And yes, Hurts, is he putting up amazing stats? No, but they won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. I don't think he was putting up amazing stats either. So no, the Eagles are the better team. The Vikings have been very good. They're 8-1. You can't ignore that. But the thing with the Vikings is their defense, which is okay, has been the thing that's keeping them. Like, obviously, Justin Jefferson won them the game last week. We all understand that. But the Vikings defense is what's been keeping them in the game. because, you know, they slow start at the Commanders 2 weeks, then they rail back. And then, you know, slow start last week too, 27-10. Josh Allen, and how many times have we seen Josh Allen just blow that open if he has a double score lead? But the defense is keeping the Vikings in it, and then they can creep back into it. But is that sustainable? And that's what we'll have to see. So I got to follow along with you. I think the Eagles are well rounded, but it's going to be definitely an interesting fight towards the end of the NFC. But anyways, go ahead. Yeah.
I'll just add, I think this might be the most intriguing race for a 1 seed I've ever seen. I mean, we're talking about 2 teams in the NFC. Both of them have 1 loss on the year. Both are 8-1. The Eagles just got their first loss. Everyone's dealing with injuries at this point. The trade deadline has passed. I haven't seen a 1 seed race this exciting in a while. I think the past few years it's been pretty easy to say, yeah, this team and that team is going to be the 1 seed, and everything else is up for grabs. But this year, the 1 seed in the NFC is up for grabs.
And the Eagles do have the advantage because they did win in week 2. So they have that going forward if they finish at a tie. But couple quick questions before we get going. I have 2, and I don't know if Jake has anything. I'll throw it back over to him after. But 2 quick questions. You're a Rams fan. I don't want to rub it in your face or anything. You did just win the Super Bowl, which I'm a Tennessee Titans fan. That's more than we've ever been able to say. So I'm not rubbing it in your face too much. Are the Rams, like, what's going on? Are they one of the worst defending Super Bowl teams ever? Or what's going on right now with the Rams?
Well, I think this is the result of going all in that everybody eventually warned would happen. The Rams are still one of the most talented teams in football. I'm not going to deny that. Especially right now, Matthew Stafford just missed last week with the concussion. Cooper Kupp is now on the IR. But even then, you've still got Allen Robinson, Tyler Higbee, a decent tight end. Cam Akers, I still think has potential, but he's just been straight garbage with us. And then defensively is really where you get into the real talent. Aaron Donald, of course, he goes without explaining. Jalen Ramsey, in my opinion, still one of the best cornerbacks in the league, but he's certainly dropped off this year. Yeah. Bobby Wagner, top 3 linebacker in the league. So I think, yeah, like I said, this is what everybody warned about. But I also feel like moving forward, if the Rams improve the biggest issue that they have this year, which I think everyone knows, is the offensive line, the Rams can be fine next year. I don't see this team as a Super Bowl contender going down the road anymore. But fix the offensive line, I think we can be a perennial playoff team moving forward. This year's a wash, though. 3-6. You're not coming back from that at this point with Cooper Kupp.
All right, real quick before we go. So you're from California. In-N-Out Burger, overrated, adequately rated, underrated. What do you have to say?
All fast food is overrated, in my opinion.
All fast food is overrated. Okay.
I rarely have fast food in general. I just don't like that stuff. I mean, the only time I'll really have it is if, like, you're on a road trip and you just need to pick something up real quick. But I'm not a big fan of fast food in general.
I respect that. But yeah, Jake, any comments before we go? Or
no, I don't got comments. I just wanted to go back to kind of that MLB topic. I do think the Marlins are going to go out and spend. I think Jose Abreu is a big name to watch. I think also Trey Turner. There's no secret that the Marlins need a star shortstop.
Yeah, I will say watch out for that young Marlins starting pitching. I will say that, though. But we'll see if they can build on that. But anyways, Nicholas, it was a lot of fun. Thanks for being our first guest. And we look forward to maybe you coming back on. All right.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. It was nice joining you guys for 15 minutes or so.
Definitely.